Monday morning wrap here on Sports Tree Ltd. Folks, I'm Connor Entree, and on this week's edition of the Monday Morning Wrap, we have a massive weekend wrap-up, and we're going to waste no time and get right into it with some PGA action. Rory McIlroy captured his third career Wells Fargo Championship. It's the Northern Irishman's first PGA event win in 18 months. In the UFC, we nailed our MKF play of the day. We said these two ladies would go to distance and make this a striker's war, and they didn't disappoint, and won us a crisp $300 on Monkey Knife Fight. Keeping things in combat sports, looking at boxing, Canelo Alvarez is one step closer to unifying the super middleweight division and becoming the first Mexican-born fighter to do so. He broke Billy Joe Saunders' orbital bone with a nasty uppercut. The Brits corner threw in the towel after the 8th round, giving Canelo the WBO world title. It was an awesome fight, and as soon as Saunders started to turn it on, Canelo stopped him in his tracks. Speaking of tracks, moving over to the Formula One circuit, Lewis Hamilton had another historic weekend. He becomes the first driver in F1 history to win 100 career pole positions. He did that on Saturday, and that set him up to win his 5th consecutive Spanish Grand Prix on Sunday morning. It's the Englishman's 3rd victory on the year and the 98th of his career. The Kentucky Derby champion horse Medina Spirit has tested positive for PEDs. Trainer Bob Baffert says his horse is a victim of the cancel culture, quote unquote. Baffert has had over 20 horses dinged for infractions throughout his career and is one of the winningest trainers in the sport's history. Coincidence? We'll see. In the NHL, Connor McDavid recorded his 100th point of the season in just 53 games. With McJesus parting goaltenders from their jockstraps, the Oilers are primed for an exciting postseason. In the NFL, Tebow time is back, but this time as a tight end. The Jaguars are signing the former quarterback and Heisman winner. Tebow will reunite with head coach Urban Meyer in Jacksonville. The two were as dynamic as a coach-quarterback duo could get in college. Getting into our bump and stump of the week, our bump of the week has to go to J. Cole. The musician is living out his dream and is currently in talks to join the Rwanda Patriots basketball club in the inaugural season of a new professional league throughout Africa. The Basketball Africa League will carry 12 teams in its introductory season, and this is great stuff. J. Cole is living his dream, and it will surely bring fans and dollars flowing into this league. Viral clips, highlights, etc. Everything will be exposed through social media, and this is a great opportunity to grow the game and an opportunity to bring competition that will inspire future generations across the African continent and abroad. Huge props to J. Cole, and he gets our bump of the week. Our stump of the week has to go to Joshua Fabia. For those of you who don't know, Joshua Fabia is an MMA trainer whose practices are quite controversial and for good reason. From chasing fighters with knives in a cage to hanging them upside down and throwing strikes at their heads and bodies. This guy needs to be stopped. There's no room for this antics in any sport, let alone a sport in which athletes put their bodies on the line already. Joshua, you're not changing the game. You're hurting fighters and their reputations. The UFC just parted ways with Diego Sanchez, a tough Season 1 veteran, because of his trainer being you. The techniques that Fabia has been using in Sanchez's tutelage is downright scary. Joshua Fabia, man, you are ruining people's lives. Stop the obscene practices before you seriously injure one of your fighters or yourself. Seriously, man, this isn't a horror movie. You're not wearing a scream mask. Stop chasing fighters around a cage with a knife, you freaking psychopath. You are a stump. Our appetizer of the week is NBA basketball. With just a week till the play-in tournament begins, and with the majority of teams with 5 or less games remaining, the playoff push is winding down. In the East, the Philadelphia 76ers, Brooklyn Nets, and Milwaukee Bucks round out the top 3 seeds in the conference respectively. They are the only 3 Eastern squads to clinch a playoff berth as of now. The Bulls are 2.5 games back of the 10th place Pacers with 4 games to play. They have some hope to get to the play-in, but with the Pacers winning back-to-back games, Chicago's playoff window is closing fast. Out west, the Utah Jazz set the pace in the Western Conference and in the NBA as a whole with 50 wins. The Phoenix Suns, LA Clippers, and Denver Nuggets have punched their playoff tickets and round out the top 4 seeds respectively. The LA Lakers are just 1 game back of Portland for the 6th seed in the West and the right to avoid the play-in tournament. Both teams have 4 games remaining. The New Orleans Pelicans are 1.5 games back of the San Antonio Spurs for the 10th and final play-in seed. The Sacramento Kings are just 1 game back of the Pelicans, and the Spurs have 5 games remaining, with a game in hand on both of those teams. Our sporting entree of the week is the NHL playoffs, and they begin on May 15th. The North Division will have to finish some games, but the other 3 divisions will begin facing off this Saturday. Starting in the Honda West, the Las Vegas Golden Knights in all likelihood will win the top seed and take on the St. Louis Blues in the opening round. The Blues have clinched the 4th seed in the division, beating out the Arizona Coyotes, San Jose Sharks, and the Los Angeles Kings. Colorado and Minnesota sit second and third respectively. The Avs have a 1-point lead on the Wild and 1 game in hand to settle home ice advantage. In the Discover Central, the Hurricanes have clinched the top seed and will play the Predators in the opening round of the postseason. Florida sits with 77 points and Tampa Bay sits with 75, and the two teams are in second and third. The two teams wrap up their regular season tonight in a pre-playoff showdown that should set the tone for a great series. The Pittsburgh Penguins sit atop the Mass Mutual East, clinching the number 1 seed. In all likelihood, the Pens will face the New York Islanders in the first round unless the Islanders win their last game and Boston loses their last 2. In that case, the Pens would play the Bruins, and the Islanders and the Bruins, they play each other on Monday night to settle the dispute. The Washington Capitals have secured the 2nd seed, and we'll wait to see what happens between the Bruins and Islanders. The Scotia North top seed has been clinched by the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Edmonton Oilers have secured the 2nd seed, and the Winnipeg Jets have punched their ticket to the postseason, but just sit 2 games up on the Montreal Canadiens with a game in hand. If Montreal wins out and Winnipeg loses their final 3 games, the Habs will leapfrog the Jets into 3rd place. Our sporting dessert of the week is the AT&T Byron Nelson tournament that tees off this Thursday from TPC Craig Ranch. Dustin Johnson is pulled out of the tournament due to knee discomfort. He just wants an extra week to rest before the PGA Championship. Getting into our 3 players to look out for this week, the first one being, in proper Sports Tree fashion, we're going to give you our 3 golfers to look out for this coming tournament. And the first guy is Scottie Scheffler. The 24-year-old is an absolute gamer, and he enters the AT&T Byron Nelson ranked inside the top 30 in a number of important statistical categories, including driving accuracy, greens and regulation, and birdie average. Those impressive stats, coupled with his odds at 25-1, makes him a valuable pick at the 2021 AT&T Byron Nelson this week. Jason Sobel did some great journalism homework and found out this incredible stat line. He found out that 9-year-old Scott Alexander Scheffler won a 9-hole co-ed age 7 to 9 division of the Metro Area Championship by 7 strokes right at this very same course, the TPC Craig Ranch. That is an awesome stat. Scheffler has won here before as a kid. Let's see if he can win here as a 24-year-old man. Our second pick is the Dallas native. It's Will Zalatoris. He was a runner-up at the Masters and will be aiming for his first PGA Tour victory this week. He's coming off his first missed cut in 14 events. He played the Byron Nelson as a pro back in 2018 and in 2016 as an amateur. Texan Zalatoris should make a splash in the Lone Star State. Our third and final golfer to look out for this week is Jordan Spieth. Spieth has resurrected his career in 2021 and will have the advantage of home-cooked meals at this event. He first played this event as a 16-year-old in 2010 and finished tied for 16th that year. With fantasy seasons already wrapped up or the championships being played this week, we present you with our final fantasy up and down for this season in the NBA and NHL. Moving forward on the Monday Morning Wrap, we will give you our MKF plays of the day like we do on Trees 3. Getting things started on the ice, the guy that you have to put up and into your lineup is Riley Smith. The Vegas Golden Knight winger is riding a 5-game point streak with 7 points in that span, including a hat trick against a possible first-round opponent being the St. Louis Blues in his last game out. Our down in the NHL is Nikolai Ehlers. While he has had an outstanding season, he hasn't played since April 24th. You can't afford to waste a roster spot on a guy in the championship week if you expect to win your fantasy championship, so drop Nikolai Ehlers. In the NBA, the guy that you have to put down is Steve Adams. Look, it's simple. He's played one of the Pelicans' last 3 games and just 2 out of their last 8. It's finals week. You're not going to win your fantasy championship with your center on the bench draining a roster spot. Cut the man and move on. As for up in the NBA, it is Jackson Hayes. To find out why, check out our sports blog and our Swish Sunday article. Head on over to Sports Tree right now, sign in or subscribe, and remember that an upgrade in your subscription is an upgrade in your chances to win up to $15,000 a year and tickets to see your favorite teams play live. Folks, I'm Connor Roundtree, and that's a wrap.